Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday here in Melbourne. Because let's go out to our friends up in the Central Coast of New South Wales, because speaking with the Central Coast Hearts, who play in the New South Wales Premier Netball competition. And of course, we've got a return guest that we've had on the show from the Heart. Of course, we had on the show this time last year, because her name is Maddie. She joins us right now. Thanks, Maddie, for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No worries. Well, a fantastic year for the Heart. Obviously, a finals, of course, appearance, including a grand final. Tell us about the surreal year it has been for the Heart.
It's been a great year for Central Coast Heart. Not only did the Opens get into the grand final, but our 23s got the furthest that they've ever gotten in a final series. Yeah, we definitely overcame a lot of barriers and problems during the year with injuries and sicknesses. But yeah, the girls just worked so hard all year in both teams. 23s coming up and filling for Opens, and yeah, everyone just worked really hard, and we worked for what we got.
You mentioned about the difficult, I guess, part of the season, obviously with like injuries and obviously COVID, whatever it has been after the year where the previous year that the season got cut short. Was it, I guess, great or relief to be back on the court and especially having a full season?
Yeah, it was definitely great. Previous years, we obviously either got cut short or the season was completely rearranged. So this year, to know that there was a start and being optimistic that there was an end was really, really great. We really could, even though we did have those barriers and the sicknesses and the illnesses, we were able to keep pushing because we knew where we wanted to be, and it was in that grand final.
I know I asked one of your teammates this probably about 2 months ago now, which I'm going to ask you the same question. Did you use 2020 and 2021 as the building blocks to 2022?
Well, you always want to keep building. That's been our coach Amber's kind of philosophy from the beginning. We've always wanted to just get better and better and build. Ultimately, you're never going to have the same team forever. So there's always going to be younger girls filtering through. And I think that we were competitive in both 2020 and 2021 seasons. We had, obviously, in 2020, we had a lot of unfortunate injuries that caused us to not make the grand final in that season. And in 2021, who knows what would have happened. But yeah, we're always building and we're always trying to filter in those younger girls to get them more experienced.
In 2022, you mentioned about the 23s going as far as they got in club history.
Yeah.
How cool was it to see them develop throughout the season from the start of the year to obviously the end of this year?
They're a great bunch of girls. All of them such hard workers. I mean, they ran circles around me at strength and conditioning, that was for sure. And a lot of them just so willing and wanting to stay back for as training partners for the Opens teams, staying back for games, staying back for trainings. Some of the girls even stayed back and did strength and conditioning and training with us after they'd gotten knocked out of the finals. So it just showed how much they really, really loved the club and wanted to be a part of it.
Assuming making the grand final this year for the Opens came to no surprise to yourselves, but I guess did you try to prove a point to the people probably at the start of the season that thought that it was never going to happen?
It's really funny that you say that, because every single year we kind of go into it being quite humble and thinking, oh, it's going to be a development year. And then as the year progresses, we go, oh God, we're really doing well. And it just kind of shows, I think, from a coaching perspective, how great of a coach Amber is and how great our program is, that we can go from the start of the year going, oh, it might be a developmental year, and then we're finals ready. So yeah, we never assume we're going to be in the grand final, but we never count ourselves out either.
Our first year at Ken Roswell Arena for the grand final. Tell us about the week of the grand final, and especially to train at Ken Roswell.
Well, it was really, really great that Amber managed to organise for us to train down there. I know it definitely would have been a bit of a shock going down there for the grand final for the first time. It was a massive opportunity. It was great. I know a lot of us weren't prepared for what it was going to be like, and it's still training there and then going to game day. Oh, the nerves were something else. Was definitely a lot bigger than what previous games or previous grand finals were like.
Different to where you normally would be playing throughout the season, which is at Netball Central. They're in, I guess, in the same precinct. Did it change, or did you try to do it like, as if it was a normal week?
So the goal was to train like it was a normal week, but the only night that we could actually get to train down at the Ken Rosewell was on the Tuesday night. So we actually ended up training Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, when usually we would only train Monday and Wednesday night. I think that the extra night, Amber and our strength and conditioning team and our physios really managed our loads really, really well, and made sure that we didn't do too much leading up to the grand final. But yeah, it was a little bit different to our previous weeks.
No, you weren't the only one they're training on the same night. I think, was it the South Coast 23s were down there on the same night?
Yeah.
How cool is that? And do you get much interactions with the South Coast 23s, even though I know that obviously you're both playing in different grand finals on, I guess, a couple of days later?
We did interact with them just for a bit. We ended up getting a photo because the coaching staff acknowledged that we were both I guess, outliers, like the regional teams. So yeah, we got a photo. We wished each other luck, and I bumped into a couple of them on the night. You just get behind each other, and you hope everyone is able to play well, but unfortunately not every team can win.
You mentioned about how important the grand final was, not just obviously for Blaze, obviously who down in the South Coast, but obviously yourselves been in the north side of Sydney, but especially in the regional of the Central Coast. I guess how did the community of the Central Coast, were they fully behind the team in the lead up to the grand final? How important was it for the region?
We always get a lot of support from the region. We're so lucky to play for we're so lucky to be playing for the Central Coast. It's a great area, and all of the clubs, all of the executives and sponsors, like, they are so supportive. Not only that, we also run a lot of clinics, so we interact a lot with the younger kids coming up through the clubs. We definitely feel the support 100%, whether they can get down there or not. One of our sponsors from Bendigo Bank, Mark, he sometimes organises a bus to get people down there. It's it's a great place to play.
And how was the atmosphere like at Ken Rosewell in the grand final?
Oh, it was so loud, and it was very, very cold, which I wasn't expecting. But yeah, it was definitely I mean, we didn't pack the arena, but it definitely was a massive step up from Netball Central. So getting used to the noise and the echo, the lighting as well was a big thing, especially shooting when you're looking up and you're not expecting a light to be behind the goal. And yeah, there was a lot to adapt to. But on the day, definitely felt special. Like, we had our own change room. There was a walk going underneath in tunnels. Like, everything felt amazing. Even the break at halftime in the 23s games for the shooters to go out and shoot, it just felt completely surreal.
I think you've done your trials for the year, I'm assuming, for next year?
Yeah.
What's now the goal? Is it going that next step for the Opens, but obviously 23s to go, hopefully enjoy grand final spot?
Oh, that's what you want every year. That is definitely the goal every single year. We had such a great team this year, and I think that they definitely could have made it this year, but I'm not actually 100% certain about what the teams are coming back next year and who's been named where. But yeah, the expectation and goal will definitely be grand finals again for 2023. Yeah.
Tell us about you mentioned about Amber, who's your head coach, obviously had an awesome year, and I think if she did get Coach of the Year, she should have got Coach of the Year
Yeah.
this year. Tell us about your other coaching staff that surrounds Amber.
So Amber was the head coach of the Opens this year. She did not have a permanent assistant coach, though the assistant coach spot for the Opens was filled by Kirsty, who was also the head coach of the under-23. So Kirsty was a massive contributor to our grand final this year. She worked so hard all year, not only to work 100% and give her under 23s team 100% of her time, but to give us what little time she had left. And then we also had our coaching on the coaching staff of the Opens. We had Megan Sharp as our manager, and then Jade was the assistant coach with Janine as the manager for the 23s. But in addition to that, we have amazing physios in Brett and Chris from Coast Sport, along with Adrian Schultz, who is our strength and conditioning coach from Blitz Strengthening on the Central Coast. And, you know, we would never be in grand finals. We wouldn't even be on the court if it wasn't for those people.
So let's go back to last year for a moment. Sorry, this is last year, but the last season just gone. You might as well tell us, all your players that you had on the team that played on your team for the year. And, just describe them in just a couple of words on how amazing they were.
Within our team, we had Sammy Chicken out the back in goalkeeper. She had an amazing year. I think she came into the team thinking that she was going to more or less be a backup defender. But every single time she got on that court, she just wowed everyone. Dakota Thomas, who was named as a training partner for the Swifts this year. She's been a part of the Central Coast Heart for years, and she was just always a reliable person on that court. She actually won our Players Player of the Year and our Coaches Player of the Year this year. So that was great for her. Maddie Mueller, she was playing wing defense, goal defense sometimes. Wing defense sometimes, goal defense mostly. I always say that when I have to train against her, it's the hardest. It's like hitting a brick wall. She's so strong. I would say she's the strongest person in our team. And just a young up-and-comer that, is someone to watch out for. Then we had Brooklyn O'Mara. So she was playing wing defense, sometimes center. I know at the start of the year, she was quite nervous about playing center and feeding to me. And, you could see the hesitation at the start of the year, but by the end of the year, she would just like throw the ball, and then she'd apologize later if it was hard for me to get. You'd just see the hand come up and the sorry. But she was a gem to play with. Jazz Rodwell, who was playing center, wing defense, sometimes wing attack. She was just our all-rounder center court player that was just constantly jumping across and filling gaps where we might have had injuries. She is such a reliable, consistent player who will just give 100% no matter what position she gets put in. Madeline Wild was our wing attack this year, although she did struggle with a lot of sickness and injury this year. Which was disappointing because she actually has so much to give. She's such a smart player, whether it comes to feeding and just the way that she attacks the ball, and in defense because she can play both ends. Then Zoe Peden was another centre court player who was a wing attack centre in the team. She was also named in the Swifts Academy for 2021 to 2022. She's an amazing young player. I just remember if she's on the court, I just know that my player is most likely going to run out there and take her out. She always is on the floor most of the time, but she's so strong and she gets back up every time, no matter how hard the wipeout is. She's so tough. Alicia Walsh, who has been a player since the start, that I've been playing with for 7 years, who unfortunately has retired this year, which is good for her, but obviously a little bit disappointing. She's just a bombshell of a player. There's not really much you can say about her. She'll wow you no matter when she goes on the court. And then for the shooting end, you have Erin Asquith, who was our goal shooter, an amazing player, so strong, such an accurate shooter. Eliza Perkins, she is just, I think, one of the most competitive people I've ever played with. She wants to win so bad, and she can shoot the lights out, that's for sure. And then you've got me at the back. So yeah, as a goal shooter. So.
Been a goal shooter, then Maddie. What was the best game that you walked in to the stadium and then everything went right in the goal shooting that you just couldn't miss?
I think our best games that really everything came together. So during the season, pretty much our only game where we had the whole team there was our Capital Spirit game. And then it wasn't until the finals that we started to have our full team there. And I think our semi-finals against Blaze and then our finals against Eastwood Ridehawks were just our best games. They started off really, really tough, and then towards the last quarters, we just couldn't. It seemed like we couldn't make mistakes. Like, it was just a really great game to be a part of. Not only that, our bench, the girls that weren't on the court were just ecstatic about the game. Like, it was just an amazing game.
I asked this question to you last season, at the end of last season, which I'm going to ask you the same question again at the end of this season. What does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially representing the Central Coast Heart?
Oh, it's so important to me. It's something I've been playing since I was 8 years old, or maybe even earlier than that. It keeps me fit and it's kept me strong. I've met so many amazing friends through this sport. And specifically, Central Coast Heart is such an amazing association to be a part of. Like, I feel like I want to come back every single year, no matter what, purely to be a part of that club. Like, I could be completely sick of netball, but I would want to come back to be a part of this club. They have provided us with amazing strength and conditioning coaches, amazing physios, coaching staff, the executives. Everyone is so kind and welcoming and willing to have a laugh. Like, it's not serious and you've got to kill yourself to play. It's everyone matters in the club, and your relationships and your friendships matter.
What have you learned from your teammates?
I'm always learning stuff from them. I always say that I'm a goalkeeper turned goal shooter. I still can't even say that I know everything. And I've said to Amber for 7 years, there's things that you've taught me that one day I'll have an epiphany and I'll figure out how to do it. But for now, I haven't figured it out. Yeah, just playing with all the girls that come into the team, you can just always learn from every single person, every coach that comes in, every experience, every loss, every win, everything's a learning experience.
Now, let's finish off with a couple lighthearted questions about your teammates this past season.
Okay.
The first one is, who had the most embarrassing moments on the netball court this past season, and what was it?
Sammy Chicken, probably, even though she had these amazing intercepts, there was a few times where like her limbs just didn't work together with her brain and her body, and yeah, there was a couple of instances. And then I'll add to that, Brooklyn O'Mara, she had a couple of good ones. Just sort of like when the camera's paused and like, you know, you might be waiting for a time. If you just watch her on the camera, she used to have some really random things happen.
I knew Sam Chicken was going to be one of those answers. So who's the comedian, the best singer, and into their TikTok/Be Real?
I mean, it's hard to say because we're different ages. So comedian wise, like I think Alicia and I feel like we're pretty funny, but we're a different comedy and like jokes to the younger girls. Alicia and I also don't take each other very seriously. Like, we will definitely dig into each other if something funny has been said or done. But for the younger girls, I think Maddie Mueller would probably think she's pretty funny. Sammy Chicken, you know, she says some things that I think you laugh at, but I don't think she intends for them to be funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then singer, I definitely know it's not Zoe Peden or Maddie Mueller because I carpool with them, but I also carpool with Erin Asquith, and Erin Asquith can definitely sing. Oh, that's just Maddie Mueller. 100% Maddie Mueller. Maddie Mueller, Zoe Peden. I think Maddie Wild would like to think she's a part of all that. She's always willing to jump into those things. And then Eliza Perkins, Dakota, they used to do their TikToks before games and training sessions. Yeah, and Sammy would probably jump in on them as well. Just all the younger girls, probably everyone that's not Alicia and I.
Have your younger teammates try to convince both of you to jump into their social media, TikTok and Be Real stuff?
Yeah, they ask. I say no. They ask. It's a no from me. Yeah. The TikToks are definite no. If it's a Be Real and I just happen to be in it, sure, that's fine. But I'm not learning dances. I can't dance. That's a no from me.
Good choice, Maddie. Good choice.
Yeah.
So do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Nothing too bad. I drive down to games with my parents, so I'll try and just relax and eat something I kind of have stages where I'll eat and then stages where I'll sleep on the drive because it's a 2-hour drive. But other than that, I really do like to get to the post before a game just to put up some shots. I do like the warm up to be the way the warm up's supposed to be, and I don't like to feel rushed. And this year, due to my age and having some back problems this year, it usually involved a rub down from Chris or him applying some deep heat to my back. So I hope next year that's not a part of my routine, but we'll see what happens.
Describe the team in a couple words.
Well, our theme this year was bolder. We just had to be bolder, which each letter meant something different. I would love to be able to tell you what every single letter meant, but unfortunately I cannot, in the sense that I don't remember. I'm sorry, Amber. But ultimately the letters just meant that we just needed to step it up, just go harder, want it more, just really give it all you got. I think that's the only word. I'm just going to give you that one word because that was our word for the season.
Yeah. And one last one for everyone in the Central Coast that should follow the team or get involved in netball. What would be your advice to people in the Central Coast Hunter region?
Well, it depends on the ages. If it's the younger, quite a lot smaller kids, definitely get them enrolled in our clinics. We do a lot of clinics during the school holidays. Not only do we have the players going there, our coaches go as well. All these girls will get coached by players and coaches. They get a little insight into what it's like. For the older girls, just keep, some of the player appearances includes rep training sessions. So we're just very involved with the Central Coast. So just trying to get the players or anyone that wants to be involved going to these events. We love the support. We love interacting with everyone. It's really, really great.
Well, we always love having the Central Coast Heart on our show. And we especially love having you on the show. I think you've been on the show more than your other teammates have been so far over this past 2-3 seasons. And we really appreciate you giving up some of your time to join us. And on a fantastic year, in particular this year in 2022, not just for your Opens team who made the grand final, but obviously your 23s that got into the finals and did very well in it in season 2022. And let's hope one step further or a couple of steps further for the 23s. And hopefully it all goes well in 2023 for, of course, the Central Coast Hunt. And hopefully we'll be up there next year to cheers on.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. And that's Maddie there, joins us from the Central Coast Heart. Of course, playing in the Premier League New South Wales competition up there, because normally been playing in the winter season. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away. Here on the 10th year celebration.